Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to transform this old tattered t-shirt that I inherited from my boyfriend. I mean, look at those holes, so embarrassing. And also this shirt that I bought from the thrift store for $3.99. What a steal, especially for the pretty color. I can't wait to see what I do with this. So we'll start with the shirt. I'm going to draw a straight line across from one end to the other. And I actually changed my mind. I wanted it to be longer, so I drew another straight line underneath my first straight line, and I cut off the excess material, saving that for later. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to get my elastic band and measure exactly 3/4 of my under bust measurement. So my under bust is about 27 inches. 3/4 of that is about 20 inches. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to cut this elastic band into 2 pieces and save the second piece for my second top. Once we're done, we can flip our shirt inside out and do a single fold all around the bottom of the shirt. Again, you know I'm obsessed with elastic bands. It's all I know. They're my saving grace, so I'll use it for just about anything. So I'm forming a tube-like hole around my shirt, and then I'm going to sew it down. And once I'm done doing that, I'm going to make sure that I leave a hole where I can insert my elastic band through. Once that's done, I can insert that band using that bobby pin and just push it through that hole. You already know the drill. You're pushing it through and pulling as well to make sure that the band is traveling through the hole so that it meets its brother in the other end. And once that's done, you can just sew it down with a thread and a needle and tuck it into the shirt. Once it's all tucked in, make sure that you're pulling and stretching it, and then you can sew down that hole that we left out before, because we're all done with this shirt and it's super cute. I love it so much. Okay, we'll put it aside and move on to the other piece. For this one, it's pretty simple. We're just cutting it apart, and then we're going to stretch the cuts that we just made because I want this piece to be as long as possible, and you'll see why later on. Just wait till the end of the video and stay tuned. Moving on to my second shirt, I'm making a mark 1/3 from the bottom of the armpits. Wait, that's redundant. 1/3 from the armpits, because the armpits at the bottom, duh. And then we're going to draw a curvy line to meet the mark that we just made. So drawing that line to meet that mark and just kind of eyeballing. I'm not doing much for measurement here, as you can see. It doesn't require that deepness, I promise you. And then once we're done, we can just connect the bottom of the curvy lines together. Just connect that line, draw. Oh my gosh, I'm just trying to fill in here, obviously. And then push the shirt upwards. And then draw another straight line at the bottom as well. The second line is going to represent where the crop top ends. So if you want it to be slightly longer, you can kind of use an old crop top that you have as a way to measure that. But I didn't really care, so I just did whatever I wanted to do. And once we're done, we can cut out all the pieces. As you can see here, I changed my mind and I wanted my line to end up slightly higher. So I kind of cut the piece slightly higher than I had intended to. And that's okay. I'm allowed to change my mind. Once that's all done, we're going to flip the top inside out again, and at the very top of the shirt, I want to insert an elastic as well through that arm area, through the front and through the back. So I'm going to single fold and pin that area down all around just to form, again, another tube-like material, another tube-like entrance for an elastic band. So just all around the basic stitch. I took the shirt to work, and during my downtime I used a thread and a needle to just kind of hand sew it because I was so bored at work, and it all worked out because I was able to use my time productively. Once we're all done, we can turn our shirt inside out and single fold again at the bottom for the same elastic band. You know the drill. Do it at the front, do it at the back, do it all around. Elastic band time. And then I'm going to sew it down with my sewing machine. It should look something like this, or probably slightly better. I did a really bad job, which is okay. I'm not like a seamstress. Okay, stressed a million times, even though I think my excuse is getting old now. I'm going to measure an elastic band for the top of my shoulder. So I'm doing again 3/4 of my shoulder measurement, and I'm going to cut out that small piece for the top of my shoulder again. Once that's done, I'm going to feed that elastic band through the tube like hole that I made at the top and sew it when the brother and the sister meet again. So we're just sewing, you know the drill. And I'm going to do the exact same thing at the bottom, but before I do that, I'm just trying to spread out my elastic here. It's such a long elastic band. It's filling up such a long area, so you just want to make sure that the elastic is spread out nice and even and is not bunching up in just one area. Once that's all done, you can feed the bottom as well with the other elastic that we got from the first cut and sew it all down once it's secured. Once our elastic is all sewn in, we can close our hole on all ends, both at the top and at the back, and then we're good to go. Oh, she's so cute. I love it. I love it. Moving on. For the bottom of my shirt, I really messed up, and I don't know, I just kind of forgot myself. I thought I was like some fashion designer who went to fashion school for 10 years and I just wanted to experiment, and I really just shouldn't have. I should have just stuck to what I know, or maybe I should have. You know what, the lesson was learned, so it's cool. I ended up cutting the bottom of one of my pieces. I ended up using that bottom as straps for my top, which is the only good thing that came out of this, but I really shouldn't have gone down this route. So my main goal after all of this was done was to retrace my steps and to see if I could bring this piece back to resemble what it looked like initially, which obviously I had already gotten rid of parts of it, so I knew it wasn't going to be perfect. But what I wasn't prepared for was how pathetic it will look. I mean, what is this? But it's cool. We're gonna work with it because it's what it is, you know? So we're going to turn it inside out, and I'm going to measure half of my bust measurement on this piece and mark it in 3 places. Once I'm done marking it in 3 places, I'm going to draw a straight line across the marks I have made. If you notice, I'm not leaving any space for seam allowance because this is really stretchy material, so I expect it to fit me regardless of how much allowance I leave for sewing. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to double fold the top of the material just all the way through, just to hide the unfinished ends. And once I'm done doing that, I can flip the material over and just bring one end to meet the other end, and I'm going to pin it down all the way in preparation for sewing. If you have noticed at this point, I'm using the hand sewing method for this piece, and if you're feeling sorry for me, don't. It's what it is. I actually don't mind it. I'm assuming no one else will make the same mistake I did. So for your straps, just cut out the thick part of the neck area and then stretch it as much as you can, like I'm doing here. Stretch it until you have a long enough piece that you can cut into 2. Once you're done stretching it as much as you can, just cut it into 2 pieces. I'm not really measuring here because I typically don't measure with my straps. I kind of just sew it first and see how it fits and then adjust from there, but just make it as long as possible. And if you need to estimate, you can use an old strap of yours. Once you're done cutting your straps, you can sew it to the top here. There's no real method to this. I'm just leaving about 1 inch allowance before I sew it to the top area, and once I'm done with the back, I can sew it as well to the front, leaving about 1 inch allowance on the strap as well, just so I have some strap material to work with if something happens. Once I'm all done with that, I'm going to take my extra strap material and cut out a piece. I'm not really measuring, just eyeballing because I don't need this to be perfect. And then I'm going to sew 2 corners just like that. And for the 3rd corner, I'm going to sew it down as well, but I'm going to leave about 1 inch open, and you'll see why. So with that 1 inch hole open, we're going to kind of tuck the material through that hole. The idea is that we're trying to turn it inside out. So just keep pushing that material through that hole, being super careful until you have it all the way out. Once that's all the way out, you should have that hole right there. You can decide to just tuck it in and leave it as is, but I decided to use a thread and needle to just seal it closed, because why not? I had a thread and needle sitting around, so I just picked it up and used it. That is the end of a summer project. I'm just kidding, I'll be back for the summer. But you can see how that strap is being used. I really like this concept. I think it's really cute and really chic. So yeah, I love it. So there you have it, some crop tops that you can wear for the summer. This could be a really fun summer project if you're feeling bored and you have some old t-shirts that you want to transform. Give it a go and see how it goes for you. I really had fun doing this one actually. And yeah, so thank you guys so much. And I hope I see you next week for my next video. Make sure you hit the subscribe and notification button if you haven't already. Thank you. Bye.